Chief Justice of the United States, and in this role he helped organize the federal court system and decided some of its key early cases. In 1794, when faced with imminent war with Britain, Washington again turned to Jay, sending him to Britain, where he negotiated and signed Jay's Treaty. Elected governor of New York in 1795 while he was on his way back from England, Jay resigned his position as Chief Justice to guide and shape the rapidly growing and changing state. In 1801, he retired to his farm in Bedford, New York, where he lived as a respected elder statesman until his death in 1829. Jay's personal life, while less dramatic than that of some of his friends, was equally interesting. He was a leader of various social and religious causes, most notably the effort to encourage the gradual end of slavery and to improve the lives of free blacks. His wife, Sarah Livingston Jay, was an educated, accomplished, and adventurous woman. Among other things, she was America's first diplomatic spouse, accompanying her husband on his wartime voyage to Spain, and almost paying with her life when their ship was dismasted in the North Atlantic. Her letters show that Sarah was almost as expert in politics as she was in fashion. She has recently been recognized as one of the founding mothers and fully deserves the compliment. John Jay's contemporaries recognized his remarkable skills and contributions. George Washington knew Jay had the talents, knowledge, and integrity which are so necessary to serve as the nation's first Chief Justice. John Adams believed that, in the process of developing and adopting the federal Constitution, Jay was of more importance than the rest, indeed of almost as much weight as the rest. John Marshall admired his predecessor's sound judgment and unyielding firmness and inflexible integrity. A French diplomat, while Jay was Secretary of Foreign Affairs, complained that it is as difficult to obtain anything from Congress without the cooperation of that minister as to bring about the rejection of a measure proposed by him. Today, however, Jay is largely forgotten and sometimes misrepresented. David McCullough, in his biography of Adams, states that Jay was in Spain for a year before Adams arrived there en route to France. In fact, Jay did not arrive in Spain until Adams was on his way out of the country. Joseph Ellis, in his book on the Founding Brothers, excludes Jay from the list of the 8 most prominent political leaders in the early Republic, naming instead Aaron Burr, who would be forgotten today if he had not killed Alexander Hamilton. Histories of the American Revolution generally mention Jay a few times. They devote many pages to Hamilton, Jefferson, and Madison. One reason for this neglect may be that John Jay was the most conservative of the leading founders. He was a reluctant revolutionary, and many of his friends and relatives became loyalists. In Jay's view, Britain forced America into the war, giving the Americans no choice but to fight to defend their traditional British liberties. Jay was also a reluctant Democrat. He believed that elections were the best way to select leaders, but he also believed that the people would often choose poor leaders, and he deplored the popular democracy which emerged during the early 19th century. Unlike many of the other founders, Jay was an openly religious man. He quoted from and paraphrased the Bible in his political papers. He served as a leader of his parish church and of the national church, and he was a president of the American Bible Society. Another reason Jay has been neglected is that his personal papers are less available than those of the other founders. In part, this was Jay's intent. He was cautious in his correspondence and directed that many personal papers be destroyed. In part, this is because, alone among the major founders, Jay isn't the subject of an ongoing effort to find and publish all his papers. It may be that the neglect has something to do with Jay's quiet personal life. He was a dutiful son, a faithful husband, a loving father. He did not die in a duel.